There's an alarming trend happening amongst dogs. Here in today's Forever Families with all the details is Dr. Jonathan Stack, resident in veterinary cardiology over at the University of Illinois, hanging out with us on this Friday. So, alarming trends here with heart disease in our pets. How so?
Yeah, it's something that came as a surprise to us as a cardiology group at Illinois, and then we actually reached out to a lot of our colleagues across the country and around the world and noticed that they were reporting the same thing, that a lot of dogs on grain-free, boutique, exotic kind of protein diets that are kind of all the rage now are developing a cardiomyopathy called dilated cardiomyopathy, which is a heart disease that causes the heart to become very weak, big, and can eventually lead to things like congestive heart failure. And it's something we know has a genetic component in some breeds of dogs and in people, but this was a new thing that we weren't expecting.
And we've actually got some video. I hope that they can pull that up here of what the heart looks like normally and then what it would look like dilated. So what do we have here? Can you kind of explain?
Yeah. So this is a kind of what we call the long axis view of the heart, and it's cycling through several different images. But the big thing to see is the heart is a pump, and this is a normal heart. It's pumping and squeezing very well, and this is a different view of it, also kind of coming down and squeezing. This is a dog's dilated cardiomyopathy, and it is just kind of not really squeezing at all whenever the heart tries to beat. And as it comes back around, you'll be able to see that it just sort of sits there. And this dog was on a grain-free diet, and it's not pumping at all as its heart's beating.
Really? You know, that's so crazy to me to think that these grain-free boutique-type dog foods are causing this kind of issue, because you think buying grain-free is better.
Yeah, and that's sort of been the perception of people, is that these dogs or these diets tend to be higher priced and they are grain-free. And now there's been sort of a lot of myths developing about dog diets, that dogs shouldn't be on grain because grains cause allergies and other things that are really not that true. Grain allergies do happen, but they're uncommon compared to things like allergies to proteins. And because they're higher priced, I think people equate that with better for their pet.
Right, better quality.
Correct.
So when you say boutique dog food, what exactly does that mean?
It's a good question, and there's so many dog foods out there on the market that it's hard to know. And the big trends that we're seeing is these are usually smaller manufacturers that are sort of newer to the market, and they will advertise things like grain-free or limited ingredient and use unusual meats like kangaroo or alligator.
Oh my gosh!
Odd protein or carbohydrate choices like lentils and chickpeas and things like that, trying to get as far away from traditional dog food branding as possible. And for the most part, it's kind of a marketing scheme, and it's been effective for the industry, but now we're seeing that maybe there's some consequences to getting too exotic with our food ingredients.
Okay, so you've got some recommendations for pet owners here that we've got popped up here. So well-established manufacturers, so trust those brands.
So the big players have been in the game for a long time, and they're usually on supermarket shelves and things like that. We're not seeing these diets with them, and a lot of these are bigger companies, but they actually have been formulating dog foods for a long time, and they have veterinary nutritionists on staff, and they've looked at their diets, and we know where they're getting the ingredients from and where they're sourced from, unlike the smaller companies where we truly don't know where their ingredients are coming from, and we don't even know what in those diets is causing this problem, whether it's a toxin or deficiency or something else, but we've not seen it in any of the manufactured diets. So right now that seems the safest choice.
So then if you do have an issue, talk to your vet.
Right. And some dogs do have special dietary needs, and we understand that, but the other thing is we haven't seen any of this with prescription diets. So if your pet does have certain protein restrictions or grain allergies, talk to your vet about a prescription diet, because those diets don't seem to be involved with whatever's going on.
And now we see here, talk to your vet if you think your pet has heart disease, but what kind of treatment options are we looking at here?
It's a good question. Depending on where they are in their course of heart disease, we can put them on some medication that can try and slow down the progression of disease and help that heart actually pump and get better volume out of it. In some cases, if it is nutritionally related, it may be reversible by supplementing with things like taurine and switching to a better diet. Some dogs respond, some don't. And if they do eventually get to congestive heart failure, we can actually make their quality of lives very good for a while with some medication. And, you know, a lot of people are very happy that they started treating their pets who are in heart failure, even though they're on a limited timeline.
Interesting facts there. Boutique fads aren't always the way to go.
No, we have to be careful.
Yeah, well, good tips here from Dr. Stack. If you need any information or you want to read up on that, head to CILiving.tv where we'll have that posted for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.